Hi everyone, welcome to Netgate Chemistry. So in the previous video of coordination chemistry, we were discussing about the ligands, the types of ligands, and we discussed about the sigma donors and the pi donors. So there was one category that was left, which was pi acceptor ligands. So we are going to discuss that. So in case of pi acceptor ligands also, what happens, there will be a metal and there will be a ligand. First, the ligand donates the electron density towards the metal, and then it takes a lot of density from the metal towards itself. Okay, these are known as pi acceptor ligands. So what happens, here we have our metal and here we have our ligand. First, sigma bond formation takes place, in which the ligand donates its electron density towards the metal. Okay, and then what happens, these are the d orbitals of metals and these are the orbitals of ligand. What happens, overlapping between them happens, and what happens here, the d orbital of metal will be filled. Okay, so what happens, it takes a lot of electron density from the metal towards itself. Okay, so these are the pi acceptor ligands. Now in case of pi acceptor ligands, the orbitals of ligand which take place, which are present in this participation, these are basically the LUMO. Okay, and the metal orbitals, these metal orbitals are basically filled d orbitals. Okay, so for pi back bonding, ligand have their LUMO and metals have their filled d orbitals. So electron donation takes place from the filled d orbitals of metal towards the LUMO of ligand. This LUMO could be sigma star or pi star, that we know these could be the LUMOs. Okay, so the donation will be from d to sigma star or from d to pi star. Okay, pi star will be available in those ligand in which pi bonds will be present. Okay, and for example, CO, Cn negative, right, these type of ligands in which there is presence of pi bonds, only in those overlappings d to pi star electron donation will take place. Okay, and for sigma star donation, from d to sigma star donation, examples could be the third period ligands, for example pH3, phosphorus, selenium, sulfur also, Sr3, like that. Okay, third period ligands. So this is all about the pi acceptor ligands. So basically pi acceptor ligands are those which give a little bit of electron density towards the metal and take a lot of electron density from metal towards itself. The ligand takes the electron density from filled d orbitals of metal towards their LUMO. The LUMO could be sigma star or pi star. If the ligand is having pi bond in it, then it will be from d to pi star, otherwise d to sigma star. For example, ligands like these. Okay, so this is all about the pi acceptor ligands, right? So now we'll move on to the next topic, that is Caput's model. Okay, so now we'll discuss about Caput's model. So we'll understand this with the help of an example. For example, I'm taking the case of CuCl4 2 negative. Okay, here copper is in D9 configuration. Okay, so if I fill the electrons, then D9 will be 6, 7, 8 and 9, like this, right? So when we see the structure of CuCl4 2 negative, what happens? We see that it has perfect tetrahedral structure or geometry, you can say. Okay, so what happens in this case? See, here also the lone pairs are present, but these lone pairs we do not place in this geometry, as they do not have any effect on the geometry or shape of the given complex. So this is basically Capet's model, which says that the lone pair will not be having any effect on the geometry or the shape of any molecule. For example, if you take the case of NH3, then we have this geometry, right, in which due to lone pair it has trigonal prismatic geometry, right? So lone pair also participate for the formation of, that is, the lone pair is having contribution for the for deciding the geometry of the given molecule. But in case of these complexes, these lone pairs are not having any effect on the shape or geometry of given complex. Okay, so this is basically Capet's model. So basically lone pair will be having no role. Okay, so why is that so? The reason is this. See, in case of ammonia, this lone pair was present in sp3 hybridized orbital. See, this we have studied in chemical bonding, right? This is in sp3 hybridized orbital, this lone pair, and these lone pairs, these are in pure orbitals, or you can say pure d orbitals. Okay, so this sp3 hybridized orbital having electrons, it what it does, it shows repulsion from these bond pairs. So due to that reason it has trigonal prismatic geometry, whereas in case of CuCl4 these d orbitals, these are present, but these are actually optically inactive lone pairs. The lone pairs which are present in any of the pure orbitals, these are basically inactive, stereochemically inactive lone pair, right? Whereas this lone pair is stereochemically active lone pair. So what do I mean by that? Basically stereochemically active lone pairs are those which helps in decide, which takes place for which have their contribution for deciding the geometry of given molecule, whereas stereochemically inactive lone pairs are those which have no effect on the geometry or shape of given complex. Okay, so this is basically Capet's model, which states that lone pair will be having no effect on the geometry of given complex. Okay, so based on that model we can say if we have NiCl4 2 negative, CuCl4 2 negative, or ZnCl4 2 negative having d6, d9 and d10 electrons in the d orbitals, irrespective of the number of electrons in d orbitals and the number of lone pairs which are present on central metal atom in these complexes, all these three complexes are going to have perfect tetrahedral geometry. Okay, all of them, irrespective of number of d electrons or the number of lone pairs which are present on the central metal atom in each of these complexes, each of them are going to have tetrahedral geometry because the lone pairs are stereochemically inactive. Also, if we take the case of NiH2O 6 2 positive, copper H2O 6 2 positive, ZnH2O 6 2 positive, all these having 6 coordination number, all of them are having perfect octahedral geometry. Okay, here also there is no role of number of lone pairs, so lone pair will be having no effect on the geometry or shape of the given complex. Okay, so this is basically Capet's rule. So one thing more, according to Capet's rule, if we have a sphere, then metal will be present, central metal will be present at the center of that sphere, and the remaining ligands will be present on the surface of this sphere on the basis of minimum repulsions. Okay, so that repulsions are basically, you have to make a symmetry while placing these ligands around the metal, and all the ligands are going to be placed on the surface of this sphere. Okay, so this is Capet's model, okay, based on Capet's rule, right? So I think so far that's it for this video. Okay, so thank you so much for watching.